Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
One morning, as I was getting ready to go to work, my cook, Agrafena, came to talk to me. This surprised me because she had been very quiet for 6 years. She usually only asked about dinner and said nothing else. "Sir, you should rent out the little room," she said. "Which room?" I asked. "The one near the kitchen, but it's too small. No one can live there. He doesn't need a big room. He can sleep there and sit by the window. He has his own chair and table." "Who is this man?" "He's a good man. He will pay 3 rubles a month. I will cook for him." After a lot of talking, I found out that an old man had asked Agrafena if he could stay in the small room. I didn't want to agree at first, but I knew Agrafena wouldn't leave me in peace until I said yes. So I let him stay. The next day, the man moved in. His name was Astafy Ivanovich. He was an old soldier. He was a nice man and liked to tell stories about his life. I didn't have many friends, so I liked having him around. One day, a thief came into the house. He took my coat right in front of us and ran away. Astafy tried to catch him but couldn't. He felt very bad about it. He kept talking about how the thief took the coat. That evening, Astafy said, "Thieves are the worst, but I once met an honest thief." "An honest thief?" I asked. "How can a thief be honest?" Astafy explained it was 2 years ago. I met a man named Emelyan Ilyich. He was poor, had no home, and drank too much. He started staying with me. He didn't ask for anything, but I could see he needed help. I felt sorry for him. He was like a lost dog. Astafy stopped and looked sad. It seemed like there was more to his story. I thought about what Emelyan would do if I told him to leave. I imagined him looking confused, not understanding me. Then, when he understood, he would pick up his bundle, an old red handkerchief with holes, and fix his coat so it looked decent. He would leave with tears in his eyes. I felt bad for him, but then I thought about myself. I can't keep feeding him, I thought. I will be leaving soon, and he won't find me. When I moved out, I found a small room with an old woman. I thought, "Goodbye, Emelyan. You won't find me now." But one day when I came back, there he was, sitting on my box. He even had a book from the old woman, but he was holding it upside down. I was shocked but thought, it's too late to send him away now. I asked, "Do you have your passport, Emelyan?" He didn't answer. I thought, well, feeding him won't cost much. A little bread and onion every day. Maybe I can help him stop drinking. I tried to talk to him. "Emelyan, stop drinking. Look at your old coat. Fix it and stop ruining yourself." But he just sighed. When I asked why, he would change the subject, talking about random things like women fighting over cranberries or men arguing about a lost money note. I got angry. "Why don't you get a job, Emelyan?" He replied, "I don't know what job I can do. No one will hire me." Then he changed the subject again. I realized he wasn't even listening. When he came home drunk, I warned him, "Next time, I'll leave you outside." But one night, when he didn't come home, I felt worried. The next morning, I found him sleeping on the stairs. He said, "You told me to stay outside, so I didn't come in." I was upset but felt sorry for him. I joked, "Why don't you learn to sew? Look at your coat." To my surprise, he tried to sew it, but his hands were shaking, and he couldn't do it. He looked at me and said, "I know I am a drunk and useless. I can only make you angry." Then he started crying. I felt terrible. I didn't know he was so sensitive. I thought, I can't give up on him. But what can I do? I had a pair of nice riding pants, sir. They were blue with a checkered pattern. A man had ordered them but didn't want them because they were not big enough. I thought I could sell them for 5 silver coins or make 2 pairs of pants for city men and keep the leftover fabric for a vest. At that time, Emelyan was very quiet and sad. He didn't drink for days and just sat like an unhappy bird. I thought maybe he had no money or wanted to change his ways. One day it was a holiday. I went to church and came home to find Emelyan drunk. I opened my chest to get something, but the pants were gone. I searched everywhere, but they were not there. I asked the old woman in the house, "Did you take the pants?" She said, "Why would I need riding pants? I know nothing about them. Ask Emelyan. He went out and came back earlier." I asked Emelyan, "Did you take my pants?" He said, "No, Astafy Ivanovich, I didn't touch them. I kept searching but didn't find them." My heart hurt and I felt angry. Emelyan sat there rocking back and forth, drunk. I looked at him and he looked at me. Then he said, "I didn't take your pants." I was so upset. I said, "Did the pants run away by themselves?" He replied, "Maybe they did." I lit the lamp and sat down to sew, but my chest hurt with anger. Emelyan got up and started looking under the bed. I asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm looking for the pants. Maybe they fell there." I said angrily, "Why are you crawling on the floor? Did you steal them?" He looked very pale and scared. He stood up and said, "No, Astafy Ivanovich, I didn't steal your pants." I calmed down and said, "If I was wrong, forgive me. Forget about the pants. We can still work and earn money." That night, Emelyan slept on the floor, looking crushed. After that, he started drinking a lot for 2 weeks. Then one day he stopped drinking and sat by the window crying. I asked, "Why are you crying, Emelyan?" He said, "I need to find work, Astafy Ivanovich. I don't want to be a burden on you." I said, "Don't worry about the pants. Let's live as we did before." But he said, "No, I can't stay. You lock your chest now, and it makes me feel bad. I must leave, Astafy Ivanovich. Forgive me." I begged him to stay, but he packed his things and left. He was crying as he said goodbye. The man left, sir. I waited 1 day, then 2, then 3. He did not return. I felt so worried I couldn't eat, drink, or sleep. On the 4th day, I went looking for him in taverns, thinking, what if he's dead in a ditch somewhere? I found nothing. On the 5th day, early in the morning, the door creaked, and there he was, Emelyanushka. He looked terrible. His face was blue, his hair was dirty, and he was very thin. He sat down on the chest without a word. I was happy he came back, but also very sad to see him like that. I gave him food, cabbage soup and bread, and he ate hungrily. He hadn't eaten for days. My heart softened. I even brought him some vodka, thinking it might comfort him. But he hesitated, held the glass, and then set it down. "I won't drink any more," Astafy Ivanovich, he said. He wasn't feeling well, so I helped him to bed. He had a fever. I stayed by him all day. The next morning he was worse. On the third day I called a doctor, but the doctor said he was very sick and there wasn't much he could do. By the fifth day, Emelyanushka was dying. He looked at me, wanting to speak but hesitating. Finally, he said, Astafy Ivanovich, how much do you think my old coat is worth? Maybe you can sell it for 3 rubles. Don't bury me in it. Sell it. It might help you. Hearing this broke my heart. I gave him some water, and then he finally confessed, Astafy Ivanovich, I took the riding breeches. God forgive you, Emelyanushka, I said. Go in peace. He tried to say more, but he couldn't. His face turned red, then white. He took one last breath and passed away.